Christian, did you hear my theory of what's gonna happen?
No, I haven't.
Like between that girl and the blonde haired dude.
Uh,
Like what's
no.
gonna happen to both of them, kind of thing. I think what's gonna happen, because you remember at the start of the episode, the boy was just like, "Oh, I was dreaming I was flying and I had swords," or something like that.
Okay.
Remember when he was like shell shocked? I think the girl is gonna join the one side and become like the armored titan, and then I think the guy is actually gonna join the scouts, and it's gonna kind
Ooh,
of be like one of those kind of
okay.
rivalries because of that.
Do you know who
Alright.
I want to see like in this final season?
Who?
I want to see Annie.
Annie's
Oh
pretty.
yeah, she
Like they don't.
died.
If they don't bring her back, that's gonna be a whole thing.
Loose
That
end.
yeah, right. A loose end.
Because like she just got like she froze herself in whatever Titan thing got frozen
Titan
with.
goo.
The Titan goo, and then she just like she's in the basement of the fucking castle. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
I really hope they do something with her. Otherwise,
I'm pretty sure they will.
Go
I'm
nowhere.
I'm almost sure they will though.
Yeah,
I think so.
I hope. I hope.
Not even that she'll like show up. I'm at least they'll like say what happened to her, kind of thing.
Yeah, because it would suck if she just like it just was plotless after that. Because she was a pretty dope character.
Yeah.
She was.
All right, so let's just
All
watch
right,
the
well,
second
let's
episode.
just get into it. Midnight Train.
All right.
Wait, that's
That's
it.
it.
that's it?
That's it. Holy fuck! That actually kind of got me more interested in like the
Oh,
the
yeah,
backstory behind it. Holy.
Huh. Okay. Okay. So, general thoughts on all that.
We kind of I kind of understand a little bit more as to what's happening.
Oh yeah, no. For
What
sure.
what I feel judging off this episode, Aaron and that Devil Island, which is like where like they all started at,
Yeah.
basically went to war with this other island. And remember in the third season part 2, he was talking about if we kill everyone on the other side, will we be free? That's pretty much what they're trying to accomplish. And I guess like for one of the missions, he's gonna have to go back to that island.
Oh, I see. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. I have some mixed thoughts on that, I'd say. I liked it more than the first episode.
I definitely liked it more than the first. Yeah.
Yeah. I was more like into it than the first episode.
I like that they actually added some okay character moments, especially for Udo and Gabby. Like it makes a lot more sense in that vein. Like it feels more natural than the first one. But nothing happens in this episode that's of much value. It doesn't end on like this massive cliffhanger. It just ends at like
that's why I was
It just gets you hyped for the next episode.
Like this is it. That's
the ending.
That's the
It's not is this it in like an intriguing way. It's is this it because it actually feels unfinished. The episode feels like there's 5 more minutes left to it.
No, yeah, it honestly felt like, oh, there should be more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Julius, did you feel the same way about it, or did you think it was like?
In a way, I kind of liked how it ended, because it kind of gets you like wanting to see more and what happens like next, because so far what's happening is they're planning on going back to the island.
Okay.
And with Reiner, and like you know how he was envisioning his friends like Annie and Bertold, right? Within those kids, and then telling that kid that he needs to protect Gabby or whatever when that time comes or whatever.
Yeah, I thought everything involving like Reiner was especially good. Like,
for sure.
Building his character, like the fact that when we see him in like the second season and he's talking about how like his brain flip flops and stuff like that, that makes more sense now because of like this whole family he has on the other side. Like that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
like it's almost like his personality is like completely changing, and his thoughts on the people on the island are like totally changed when he's on there, right?
Yeah. And to go on this episode, I feel like the animation is kind of interesting compared to
It's
like what.
interesting, but I wouldn't say it's better or worse necessarily.
Yeah,
Like,
I do like the attention to detail, like I said. With like how like the people are moving while they're talking with their like heads in general.
Oh yeah,
right.
yeah,
You saw it at the pier with the glasses kid. He was
yeah.
like talking with the other guys, moving his head around, and you could see like his face like stop being like drawn as he turns left, and then you can't see his
That's,
face.
you
That
know
type of
what?
thing.
I didn't even notice that, but that is kind of cool now that you mentioned it. But
Yeah, and
one thing I didn't.
overall, like the sorry to cut you off.
No, no,
Overall,
no,
like
it's
the
all good. No
body,
worries.
overall the body movement and like how it's like animated is kind of interesting to see compared to like the other seasons.
There are some scenes where it's like, you're right, it's done super well, and like I didn't even notice it was that good. But there are some like scenes where they're all sitting at a table, and there are
I was gonna
some
mention
weirdly
that.
drawn faces, and not in like a
And
good way, but like it's almost they're trying some new angles, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's the way they're
yeah, and
drawing
not
the
only
faces
that,
now.
they're also like very obviously freeze frames. Like I'm okay with the freeze frames if it's like
If
kind of
it's
like,
done well, yeah, of
if
course.
no, not even if it's done well, if they like, attempt to kind of hide it, but it's pretty obvious when like there's a one person moving and the rest of the scene's just kind of
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed
just
that.
a drawing.
Like there's a like there'll be a character in a scene that will have all this like, money put into it, and like it's so textured and well there, and every other character in that scene is so frozen in place. Like some of, like, what is it, there's a scene where we're all at the table, and you can kind of look at this one. It's like one of the general dudes, he's like sitting down and he's talking to everyone. It's just his bottom jaw that moves up and down, and it looks really
Oh
distracting.
yeah, I remember
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I remember. It
Like,
was
I'm like,
literally at the start.
you couldn't put any other effort into that besides like a slight jaw. I don't know. It's like that kind of thing. It wasn't apparent in the original series, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it could just be that we're not used to the new studios, I guess, animation
And
techniques.
yeah, that's it's
Yeah, like
kind of
that, like
it's
that.
it's kind of so minor that like I don't mind. It's There's just not a lot to talk about with this episode. It's kind of such
Oh
a
yeah.
non-starter. Like the first one, there was at least like there's a suspicion that it could have gotten better, and this is leading in that direction, but this is such a small step in the right direction. You know what I mean? Like this is like a little baby nudge.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree.
Like I think what they do with some of these characters is nice, but yet again, they don't spend enough time on them. It's like they're
Yeah,
really
like I was gonna say, like I'm well, sorry for cutting you
no,
off,
no, no, no worries.
but like I was gonna say, like I'm all like honestly, I really like where they're going with this episode. Like nothing like major happens. A
Right,
Titan doesn't
yeah.
just pop up from nowhere. But the problem I have with the episode is that with the time they had to use for, I assume this would be a good episode for character development. They did some, but they did it in such a way where they slowly developed the character, but they did it too slowly to the point where it's just kind of like there wasn't enough character development
Yeah,
for the character development episode.
it's also like they were trying it's they were trying to build character in specific scenes, but because a lot of those scenes almost feel isolated from one another, it doesn't feel like we're like seeing these characters grow and like form into like well-rounded people. It's more just like these are specific scenes in their life, and then after that we're just as detached from them as before.
Holy
So
shit.
it's like I don't know. Like I think we really should have spent more time with these kids. Oh yeah, I did notice that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a cool
Yeah,
So
I did
scene.
notice
so
that.
okay, so in the pier scene there was a scene where Reiner was envisioning his friends back in the island or the Devil Island, and it
Right,
showed
yeah.
Bertold and Annie. And then you could also see you have what's his face? You have that other Titan that at the first
Other
episode
dude.
who protected the girl. And then you have the other guy, fuck, I guess they're like the other Beast Titans that got selected with him, and
Okay,
those
okay.
two kids stayed while Bertold and Annie and Reiner went to the Devil Island to
Oh
like infiltrate.
shit. Okay, I didn't even pick
So
up on that. God
so
damn.
out of the five people, those three people went to the Devil Island, and because if you saw in this scene, it showed hold on, let me see this. It showed these two as Annie and
Okay.
Bertold, meaning from what I think they're trying
They're
to
gonna die.
they're gonna die.
Yeah.
So this is kind of
Okay.
like foreshadowing. Bertold was this guy, and then Annie was this girl, meaning I feel like those two are gonna die.
I'm gonna be honest. I hope that's the case because otherwise, it's just gonna seem like they're making like it's the new generation flashback, like that kind of thing, where it's like
Yeah,
this is the new generation of warriors. If they do
I'd
that and
hate that.
I know I
I would
hate it
hate
so
that.
much.
That'd be so bad.
I know yet
but
again, it's so hard to talk about this because there is so little to chew on.
Yeah, I
yeah,
know.
there is little to chew on. But from what I like is I like how they showed more of like Reiner and then like the main characters. Like you see Falco still being like his humble self, trying to help others even when like people are looking down on the mentally unstable people, right?
I feel like we
And then
should
you
Yeah,
actually talk about that. I feel like Falco's a very forced character.
yeah, I
I'm
noticed
not
that
gonna
too
lie.
specifically.
Like when they went back to their hometown, they had it's like they had those mentally like fucking destroyed Eldians there just for Falco.
Oh, I know.
Like
It's
yeah,
like
like I
that
don't
is
yeah.
fair.
know.
But
It
then
felt
again,
very forced to
then
me.
again, it's like I feel like they're trying to show that he does like out of like all these other people who want to kill the other people without like any information on them other than the fact that they're evil. I feel like
Okay.
he looks at it both ways and seeing like the goods and the bad sides of both sides. So I feel like in a way it will like help develop him into realizing that both sides could be either good or bad on his like judgment, and he would switch to Aaron's side depending on uh like how it goes.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like although there was a lot of like character building in this episode, it was a lot of building that didn't really lead to any lasting impacts. Maybe for like Reiner and Gabby, but especially for Falco, it's like pretty much everything that this episode like implies about his character we already kind of knew from the first one.
Yeah,
Like
from the first.
they
I feel
just
like that's
kind
for
of
every
hammer it down
character
more,
though.
but I mean at least
I
with
feel like that's
Gabby it
every
feels
character.
with Gabby it feels more natural. It feels like they're cheering her on for it. That's where her ego
I
comes
feel like
in.
I hate
Yeah.
to say it, but I feel like Gabby is probably the best developed character and the best character, the new best new character they made so far.
Which is nuts because we fucking grilled
Yeah,
her
we
like
grilled
for
her at
that
the
first
first
episode.
Yeah.
episode. Like she
But
was
I
Like
a
mean,
fucking bitch.
out of the four kids, she's the best character so far in my opinion.
yeah, and I mean Udo's proving to be like some like maybe there could be something there, but for that other like that chick that's supposed to be like the like this island's equivalent of Annie, yeah, I don't think she's gonna last very long. She's had
Yeah.
no
She's dead.
lines.
She had no
She's had
lines, so bad, like terrible like development. And
I know.
like I said before, I literally just caught that. The fact that Bertold and Annie were the glasses kid and um what you call it, the girl or whatever. And what is her name?
Annie?
Sophia.
Okay, yeah,
Zofia.
never
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah,
Sophia.
those two characters are gonna die.
They
100%.
absolutely are gonna die. Yeah, I feel that. Um, yeah, I don't know what to think of it. Like, I think they're slowly finding their ground, but it's taking a long time. Like, I feel like this,
Yeah.
you know what? The more I think about it, I think I like this episode even less than the first one because there was at least something there to pick and chew, whereas this is so nothing. Like, there's nothing to this that makes it like enjoyable to watch or like you'd want to rewatch it to find little nooks and crannies here, right? Like
Right.
that kind of thing.
Right.
Really? For me it's actually the complete opposite.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm like the longer I'm sitting here thinking about it, I'm starting to think like there was a lot of stuff that like that they really did just hint at. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
and
think it's the
I can
greatest
agree on that.
episode, but I do think it's better than the first one because they do hint at a lot of things in this episode. Like for example, the more obvious one was like talking about what's the Zeke Zeke
Yeah.
how he lost 4 years ago. They did a lot more stuff in this episode, so I feel like this would be another episode where you'd kind of have to rewatch it
Yeah, just to kind of like
just to
understand
pick
more
Yeah.
of
up on
like
the more
the
subtle
idea.
hints.
Yeah,
I get that. Yeah.
and just like I said before with the Pierce scene, you could also see it at the dinner table with Gabby and Reiner. How he was like envisioning what happened back in the island, and then Gabby's like interest as to like I like there's more people. Like aren't they
Yeah.
bad? And that could also like help realize that maybe their what you call it, their war might be like meaningless, or maybe like um uh
It's definitely not as black and white as you'd think,
yeah,
right?
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think even Reiner thinks that everyone on that island is bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for the most part, he's even having some doubts in himself too, right?
Right, exactly.
Like you see in this scene that he's talking, like everything he's talking about is really like, oh, that's the negative thing. Like
That's their
that's like
negative.
whatever. Who
He's
cares?
he's saying negatives in a way that he's more reminiscing on those times rather
Yeah,
than that
exactly.
actually being a problem. For instance, all these characters, yeah, sure, he's only mentioning negatives, but they're kind of charming negatives. Like it's almost a way you talk about an old friend in some cases.
Yeah, kind of just like negatives that really don't actually mean anything. They're not really an impact, you
Right,
know,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Like they're just kind of like, quirks of someone. Like, oh, haha, he's a little bit self-centered, I guess. Oh, he's a little bit energetic.
Yeah, I get that for
Like
sure.
saying the energetic kid is like, oh yeah, he's too energetic. He was a terrible person.
Yeah,
He
Julius, I
would,
saw that line.
Exactly.
yeah,
Um
With the line of Gabby saying they're bad people, right? They're all bad people, right?
right,
Like,
exactly.
and the fact that her
yeah,
mom is trying to persuade Gabby into thinking that all these people that we're fighting are the bad people. We're the only good
yeah. Just
people,
kind of
and
like
we'll and
cementing it in her brain.
in
Yeah,
order to be free, you need to kill those people who took our freedom.
I like those themes for sure, like the
yeah,
anti-war stuff. It's anti-war, but it's also like these specific two episodes, they're really going on that whole like racism kind of thing with the Eldian people. Like the way
Yeah,
they're
pretty
being
yeah,
treated
much.
and everything. Like it's like they're really hamming that forwards and
yeah.
they're trying to bring up that discussion. It's
Eldians.
like, oh, they're not all bad people, are they? And then, that kind of thing. So
I don't know. I wouldn't be the biggest fan of that theme. It's been done so many times already. Like,
although I'm not the hugest fan of it either, just as like a huge narrative thing, it can be done well, and
oh yeah, for sure.
they were already sort of playing with that idea originally, with like, oh, like the Titan's identity and all that stuff. But that's less about racism and more about other things. But this is specifically racism.
Yeah. And I'm just gonna piggy. This is going like kind of back to the topic I said, just to piggyback off
Right,
it.
for
I
sure.
also I also think that the fact that they're putting in a lot of hints and instead of like actually just putting it into the episode, I also do think that's a detriment to the how interesting the episode is.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if I'm watching this, I really don't want to overanalyze the whole episode just to pick apart every single thing they put in. Like I do want the most important pieces of information from the episode kind of like I wouldn't say presented to me, but kind of like naturally put in so that, anyone who's watching they would know for sure that, this is
Yeah.
important or this is what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I don't
See
know,
that.
it was just a little boring because of that.
Because
I'm just
there
gonna
was
say that.
nothing that happened in the episode besides character building. Actually, Lorenzo, you might know this. Do you remember Game of Thrones last season? It was like the second episode when they're returning back. Like, you know how they all
That
have their little
episode.
character moments? It's episode 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Shit
Yeah,
episode.
they all have their little character moments and everything, and like everyone's having a good time and all like that whole jazz. It's kind of like this, where
I
like
would say more boring though.
it's yeah, it's more boring
Because
than that one at
because
least.
because like I don't even really think they're good episodes to compare because
Yeah,
the
there's
Game of
only been
Thrones
two.
season 8 episode 2 was like those characters we've already known for the entirety of the show.
Right,
The only
exactly.
character we know in this show, or I guess two of them, is Zeke and Reiner. And
Yeah.
Reiner's like the main character that, is talking
Yeah,
that we've
you know
known
what?
from other seasons.
That's fair. Yeah, it's actually like It's actually like a less good example than the Game of Thrones one, because at least that
I do
feels
know what
kind
you're
of
coming
earned.
from.
Yeah,
I do know what you mean though.
in terms of like its structure, that's what it's going for. But because it doesn't have the characters to really rely on it being like it's like a nice like not a conclusion, but a nice little break. They can't have that yet because what they've shown already is just so small. Like the fight they were having, it's like sure there were like some there were some bad repercussions, but they won that pretty easily. To have this kind of moment is more for like there was a really rough battle. Things were going through like they were going through a tough time. They lost a lot of comrades. It almost seems like everyone on the Eldian side came back pretty unscathed, besides like the shell-shocked people. So it almost feels unearned. Is there anything else like specifically to talk about in terms of like characters and little arcs and everything like that?
One thing I am excited for is I like how this episode is kind of like trying to get you excited for like the next episode or the next arc, pretty much.
Okay, yeah.
Because this is like the only like introduction phase. Once it gets to like that mission, who's like who to know whether we'll get to see Eren and Mikasa and Arwen and like all of them.
That's true as yeah.
They're really teasing it, but I hope they don't stretch out this tease too long to the point where like people just start losing interest.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
that's my worry is like if I'm actually comparing both episodes, I think in terms of like what they're trying to go for, I can appreciate both an extraordinary like a huge amount, but in execution they both falter pretty heavily. Like none of them are bad episodes, but they're just both such non-starters.
Yeah, I
like
could
pretty much
agree with that.
all they've done was like introduce new characters and I guess say that they're going back. And that's about it.
And that would be like for instance, in the original series, in like the first season, where a lot of it's like training and talking, or at least for the first half of it, at least then most of the stuff they talk about in these two episodes would kind of be shortened to like either half an episode or just like one episode in its
Oh
entirety.
yeah, like the training arc, I guess you can call it.
Oh my god, yeah,
Like
arc
this version,
in
it was like an
quotations.
episode. It was like an episode, which I'm so thankful it was because like you don't have to sit through the God, I don't know. You just don't have to sit through it all just to get to the good parts where they're already there.
Parts. Yeah.
In the
It's so weird, the juxtaposition, because like you see in like the original series how it's like it's so cutthroat, it gets to the point, it knows exactly what it's trying to go for, whereas this one it's like meandering and like it's sitting in a weird way in like my head, and I don't know, it's just there's something about the overall vibe of the show, haha, get it, that I'm just not full I'm just not like fully into, I guess. There's something about it in terms of its development is really lacking.
All right, well, I think I just found this is like a plot hole kind of thing. I think you know how like they said like, oh yeah, this family has the what is it, the Warhammer Titan, or this person's inheriting the Armored Titan.
Right.
Yeah.
In season 4 part 2 or season 3 part 2, sorry, wouldn't Armin in that case inherit the Beast Titan? But
That's a good point.
He got like a gremlin looking Titan instead.
Yeah.
Shouldn't
Oh
he
my
be getting
god.
Shouldn't he be getting the behemoth?
You know what? That's actually a really good damn. Yeah, that is a plot hole, I guess. Holy shit.
I do think that is a plot hole. I don't think they were thinking of that.
No, I don't think so either. Damn. That
At least I hope it's not a plot hole. I hope they explain that.
You know what? I don't think so. If they were going to, they would have done it in like one of these episodes. I think they just forgot about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless
and then honestly, there's a lot of plot needs to be filled because honestly, they didn't really give us much to go with. We still don't know. We still don't know what's gonna happen with like on Eren's side. We still like all these characters are pretty much unimportant.
Yeah, they're so non-essential to anything that's gonna happen. Like I don't care for any of them. Except for like
maybe Reiner and Zeke because they're like from
they've already existed. Right? Like,
they've already existed. I think the only reason why we're getting this side is to like get us up to date with how the war is gonna possibly end up. You know,
Yeah. I mean, I think if like yeah, I don't know, but I mean, they could have in this episode really focused on some, maybe some slight character development, really wanted us to attach ourselves to these characters and then put us in the thick of a battle. Like that would be a really good idea, but the way they're playing it, it's like we're not going to give a fuck about anybody here.
pretty
So then why
much.
even
Yeah.
have an episode like this?
Well, I guess you
Like,
could.
I
It could
don't
kind of.
know.
It could kind of relate with, Levi's squad and how they were shown within the within that episode, and then literally died in the same episode.
But they also did something in that episode. They were
And
able to
Yeah.
they were able to
it,
fit development and an actual like progression to the plot. Whereas this, it stands perfectly
exactly. And
still.
no, but like here's the thing, like I feel like those characters need to like stay how they are in order to like fill in the plot later on when they do introduce Aaron. And because when if we don't know who these characters are and we just see Aaron's side, the war is just going to be pretty confusing because we don't know who these characters are, who these beasts are,
Oh,
and
you're
why they're
right. No,
strong.
I
totally
get what
agree.
you're coming from. Yeah. The problem I have with that though is that I'm all okay with adding characters, right? And like for the
Yeah.
plot. If it's like maybe even a season before, you know, that like minimum doing it in the same season's a little bit iffy on me.
I
Because it
think
really at that point it really seems like they're just adding them just for character development if they're just gonna kill them off kind of thing.
so. I'd actually, yeah. So I agree with Julius that I think this is actually a super essential part to it. But yet again, it's like they're not developing these characters enough where we'd actually like be able to connect with them later on. Like it's
That's
good
And
for
utopia.
it's good
and
for like just showing them and like us understanding minor goals and setbacks, but because we're not connecting to any of them, having an episode like this, it just seems almost like a squandered opportunity.
Boring, pretty
I
much.
yeah, I can kind of understand, but then again, when you think about it, if these characters aren't getting that necessary like connection that we need, then they're eventually either gonna die or like be more important later on, where you get that connection, in the like future episodes where Aaron does come in and like Aaron's squad comes in.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't know. Depending on where they take the next episode, this one in particular can either be like leveled up and kind of be understandable, or it be like the worst episode of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could
And
agree
I'm
with
gonna.
that.
I said this about the last episode. I'm gonna say it again. It really still feels like we just kind of watched an episode of just right in the middle of a random TV show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? Like it doesn't it feels like we need some more context, but also just yeah, just some straight up building moments that would make it really seem like it you know,
Oh yeah, we have
to
to watch the preview. I forgot.
All
oh
right,
yeah, oopsies.
let's watch the
Yeah,
preview.
preview
Yeah.
on.
Hmm.
That
Thoughts on
yeah,
that?
a lot of nothing.
That was a whole lot of nothing for
I
sure.
They
thought
showed off. What's
they
the
showed
guy's
off
name?
Aaron's dad or something, right?
Not
It showed
Aaron's
off.
dad.
Not
It
Aaron's
was.
No, no, no.
dad.
It showed off the guy that we saw at the other preview, or like towards the end of the first episode, where he was walking around and then picked up like a newspaper or something. And I'm pretty
Oh,
sure
I yeah, okay.
he'll be somewhat of importance
Does he not look
with.
okay, sorry. He doesn't look like sorry, nothing to do with Aaron, like Levi's trainer?
Levi's like caretaker kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
guy.
him.
Oh
What's
yeah,
his
no,
name?
yeah, you're right.
What's his name?
Wait,
I was trying to
I
think of his name.
I forgot what his name was, but yeah, I feel like
Didn't he
wait,
inject
that would
himself with a titan or something, or did he die?
No, he didn't. He was
no,
going to, but then he gave it to Levi, which Levi used on Armin in
Oh,
season 3, part
yeah,
2.
yeah, homie died. I don't think that's the same guy. It looks the same. That'd be cool though.
Oh wait, are we talking about the captain?
No, no, no.
Captain
So
what?
it's just like you remember when like this character came in like the third season. He was like Levi's like original trainer and like teacher in his arts, and he said he was like a scumbag kind of guy. Like
Oh
he,
yeah. They had that the fight
yeah,
where
right,
Yeah.
he
exactly.
was getting chased.
And at the very
Yeah.
end, he's like beaten and bruised and bloodied, and he could inject himself with that Titan serum, but he gave it to
They just
Levi and
gave it
died.
to Levi. Yeah.
Yeah, and he died. Yeah, I forgot.
Oh right. Yeah, okay.
It looks a lot like him, especially in that other teaser, but I don't
Oh,
think
it
it's
looked a lot like him in the
yeah,
other
right?
teaser.
But that's kind of the only thing I got from it because like they're adding like an antagonist character for Falco, and I don't know who it is, so it means nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
him.
that guy. What the fuck? And
It looks
what's the
so much like him, but
okay?
It does.
I forget his name though. What is his name?
Uh,
I have it
I'm
like on the
Um
tip
I'm
of my
looking
tongue.
I'm looking at the character right now.
It's
All I can find is like fan art of Levi being a teacher at a school. Fucking Christ. Awesome. Oh, look, there's Levi in a maid outfit. That's cool. Oh my god, it is literally the exact same. It's the exact same looking kind of guy. Like the
what's his name?
stubble on the end of the beard. I found pictures. I can't find what he. Oh, Kenny the Ripper.
Kenny the
Oh
Ripper.
yeah, Kenny,
Yeah,
that's right. Kenny
yeah.
Ackerman, yeah, that's
Holy
right.
shit.
I'm actually interested as to who this character is
That
in
that look
the
that just
preview.
right. Like that just looks like Kenny the Ripper. That doesn't look like a new character.
Who knows? Maybe he got revived or something. Maybe someone
Yeah,
found their
they'd
body.
have some explaining up the ass to do for that one.
Yeah.
Ah, but damn, yeah, interesting. Yeah, I guess is there any final thoughts anybody has about the Attack on Titan?
I'm
Or
personally excited to see the next episode
I am anticipating it. Yeah,
because I do want to see
Yeah,
like how they're gonna like orchestrate whatever like mission they're gonna go on, and like who's gonna be involved, and like how um what you call it? What's her name again? Fuck, she's so unimportant.
Gabby,
Um, no, not Gabby. The other girl,
Zophie.
Zophie, and then the
Yeah,
glasses kid. I wonder how they're gonna like be a part of it, and then eventually lead to their downfall.
yeah, I'm not too sure either. If they don't do it by the next episode, like, when are they gonna die?
Yeah, it would
If
have to either be like if they're doing this in a 2-part series for the final season, it would most likely be towards the end then.
It's like for me, both of these episodes aren't bad, but I'm getting like I'm almost worrying about how it's gonna end. Like I feel like this is almost like a dark cloud over like potentially like a bad season, but I'm not too sure yet. It's just I haven't loved either one of these episodes.
I just think they're okay. That they're just
Yeah,
Yeah,
there
they're
whatever.
were
just fine. They're just what it is, right?
yet again, if what Lorenzo was saying was true and this was like in the middle of some other anime, like it would be the most okay anime ever, and I wouldn't even like think about it that much.
I wouldn't even really watch it if I just kind of if it was the middle of an anime, I just wouldn't
Right.
care.
Like I'd watch an
Whatever.
episode, then I'd watch something else because I was so bored. Like there's nothing to these episodes that is really causing a lot of discussion or, like we're really grasping at straws when we're talking
Yeah.
about this.
I guess the more they fill us in, the more we'll get to discuss on like those details. But I
Right.
I
Yeah.
I mean like then again, you just like we saw and like we noticed some of like the little details they included. And I feel like those are pretty nice for what they tried to do in this video or this episode.
Not that there isn't anything good in these two episodes. I just think like in the direction they're taking it, I worry so much for the future of this season.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Agreed.
Like it
Hopefully it doesn't end up being just their show completely out of context. Attack on Titan with like no Eren, no Mikasa, and like all of them. Then
I don't think that's
oh
gonna
then
god.
happen
I
because they
hope
do have the source
I know
material.
it's not
They
gonna
do have the
happen.
source material.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And didn't they finish it?
yeah, it's
so.
finished.
But yeah, I know they're eventually gonna come in. I just hope that it's not gonna be prolonged too long.
Mm.
I know, like a lot of people like who've read,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
manga. What is it? They all say like it's really like really good, but right now
exactly.
so far it just doesn't feel like it's being just done right, even though I've never read it.
Maybe
Like
we
everything
need to.
is super slow
Maybe
and
maybe
just
maybe
nothing
maybe that's
happens.
why. Maybe once we get to that point, we'll think that this is the best season.
Well, yeah, hopefully
But
that's
in
what I'm
order
hoping. But
yeah,
so
but
far, it's not a good start.
yeah, but in order, I guess in order for us to like get that reaction as like the manga readers, we would need to somewhat get invested into these characters and into what they're trying to give us right now.
There are very few shows that are able to kind of do that, where it's like they'll have a problem, especially near the beginning, that's so big that like but later on, like once it gets better and better, like those things are excusable near the beginning. I think these 2 episodes, I don't think they're gonna get much better in hindsight. Like it's hard to say, but I don't think they'll be getting any better. I just think we
Oh
just
yeah, I know what you mean.
like I think that
Like with the context of the rest of the season, you mean, right? That kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
thing.
that's what I mean. Like it's not going to be like I don't think these 2 episodes are going to be held to a greater status because of the rest of the series.
Well,
Yeah,
there's only
I
one
know.
way to find out, and we just have to wait.
Exactly. So I guess if we're just wrapping everything up, what are we all rating it?
I'd say a
This
2 out of
episode
5.
specifically,
Yeah, just this episode
Yeah,
specifically.
I'd give it a 3 out of 5.
I'd say 2 out of 5.
Yeah, I would go with I was either debating between either a 3 star or a 2.5, but I'm gonna have to say 2.5 because and I'm also gonna bump down the other one as well to 2.5. So they'll both be at like a 50% kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
that's fair.
they're okay at best. There are some neat things about them. There's some stuff I dislike a lot, and it kind of evens out to just middle of the road.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's fair.
for me, I feel like the negatives kind of outweigh it a little more personally, so I'm giving
Well,
it a 2.
I think if these episodes aren't held together by the rest of the season, they are gonna get worse, especially
Yeah,
if the rest is
it's fair.
bad.
Yeah.
But if it continues like this, it's gonna like the rating will keep dropping and dropping. But if it's just these 2 episodes, I don't mind a little bit of a lull. Like it's fine.
And that being said, thank you for watching this episode of the Vibe Raiders podcast.
Yeah, word. We are the vibrators.
Oh, we should have said, how would you rate this vibe instead of episode?
Oh, that's very
Oh
fair.
yeah,
Vibe.
that. Fuck. All right, next episode.